Coming up on the show today, news like you wouldn't believe.
Are you ready to get casual? Grab your favorite adult beverage or combustible plant and join us for our roundtable TTRPG discussion. Oh yeah, it's time for Casual Friday. And now, here are your hosts.
What's up? I am Jim from Wizards and Wordslingers. That's Ryan from the Verdigris table. We are the Landlocked Warlocks. There was another guy who was with us, but he ran away to join the circus. That's what I heard. I don't know if you heard anything else, Ryan. But Brad is no longer with us.
He was the responsible one. He was the voice of reason. So this one's going off the rails. Buckle up, folks. It's going to get weird.
We have an amazing treasure trove of news to get through. For once, we had some late week news, which is usually the bane of our Casual Friday existence, that we get like news on Monday. By the time we've talked about it, everybody's already heard about the stuff. But for now, we had some recent news. First of all, yesterday, was it yesterday? No, it was a couple days ago now. Maybe it was yesterday. But there was a huge announcement from Critical Role about Campaign 4. They finally answered the question of whether or not they're going to be playing 5e or Daggerheart. They said both, which is kind of a lie. It's a massaging of the truth, because for Campaign 4, they are playing 5e. And let's just go through this press release. It has begun.
I just want to give you credit. Last week around this time, we made predictions, and I recognized that I was taking the long shot by saying that they're going to do Daggerheart, but they've been making big swings. And one of 12 headlines in this press release is, it is in fact D&D. They're like, oh, it's 2024 now, which a lot of us who've been playing it for a while, it's not that different. It's a little different. But yeah, props. You got it right. I was wrong, or they're wrong. But
yeah, I had said on the show that I thought that the fact that they're bringing in Beely M made it more likely they would use 5e, and I think that probably turned out to be part of the case. We'll dig into the Daggerheart v D&D conspiracy as we go on. But let me get through this more stuff from this press announcement. Here's what they said. Hero to many, enemy to some. When the Jazdi Fang is marked for execution, various figures from across his remarkable life unite to uncover the truth behind his grim fate. In a land still suffering from the fallout of dead gods and living in the shadow of a tumultuous rebellion, these disparate people will come together across the fractured world of Ahriman and connect in ways they never imagined. As hope and victory fade, a question hangs over Ahriman. Without the gods, what great deeds now fall to us? And who or what shall grab the crown for themselves? So this is the world that Brennan Lee Mulligan, the new game master, is running in, and part of this text was released a few days ago in some alternate reality game. Alternate, was that it? ARG. I can't remember what the A stands for anymore.
Augmented. Augmented is the word.
Augmented reality game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, it was which basically just means an online puzzle, and it was broken and solved before I even heard of it.
That was also my experience. Everyone was like, Ahriman. I was like, I missed something. What's happening?
Yeah. So a couple of interesting things here. They said that they're playing with 2024 rules, including custom subclasses from Crawford and Perkins, which I'm pretty interested in that. That's very...
My theory is I think that might be... There's plenty of reasons on the D&D Pro column. I think having Crawford and Perkins in-house who wrote the thing, and then the new version of the thing, and then came and worked for you. I think maybe that was a big weight on the scales of which system they're going to do, at least right now, for their main campaign.
I'm calling a bit right now. Sometime in the first few episodes, they're going to have a rule disagreement at the table, and Brennan is going to go, "Hey, Jeremy," and Crawford will walk over and make a ruling. That they're going to do that as a bit at the table. I'm calling it like Babe Ruth now. That's going to happen. Okay.
I love it.
So the next bit of news here is that they are switching to what they called a West Marches style campaign. It's not exactly West Marches, but it is kind of like that. It's essentially concurrent, three concurrent campaigns in the same setting is what's going to be happening. And this was very interesting to me because for a long time now I've been predicting and thinking that at least one or more of the main cast members was going to step away. I thought, there's no way Travis has time to record 40 episodes of this show a year. There's no way he's running like two to or three companies. Plus he's, still actively doing a lot of voice work. There's no way. So I thought we were going to see, like Travis step down and then they bring in Abria and they bring in Robbie Damon. And so it's fine. We know we miss Travis, but he's too busy. We still love him. He'll still pop up here and there. But they handled this problem in a completely different way that I did not see coming. They added 5 new cast members and are splitting them into 3 groups. And so what that means is that instead of each cast member recording about 40 episodes per year, they're going to be recording probably 15 to 20 episodes per year. Because I think probably what they'll do is they'll probably do like 1 month on, 2 months off. I've seen some people saying that they're going to have like each week will be a different group. I think that's way too confusing. If you just watch, if the first Thursday of the month is group number 1, the second Thursday is group number 2. That's super confusing because you're only getting a story once a month. It's a lot easier to have like 3 or 4 weeks of one group. Then you take a break, and then when you come back to that group in 2 months, you have a like real thorough recap. That's my theory.
I'm super interested in the execution because this is at least 2 things at once, right? This is a D&D game. And West March is fascinating to me. I've run it a couple times. I found that it means different things to different people. I have a fairly popular video about what it could mean to you if you're confused. But there is the other side of the equation, which is like, this is a piece of media that they are creating. They are telling a story, but now you're telling 3 stories that intertwine, but like, how are you going to present that to us, the viewer? And I think the idea that it's one full 4 hours of one story, next week it's the second story, next week it's the third story, week number 4 we see some other Daggerheart adjacent thing, and then we go back to the first one again. It doesn't seem tenable to me. So I imagine we might see a more, I mean, they have an intermission. Traditionally, we're no longer dealing with live shows. So I would be surprised if we're not seeing at least 2 games, tables, storylines per episode, if not all 3. Like, if they can manage it production wise, I think having it be all 3 in front of us every week is going to keep people way more engaged than now you're watching 3. How can we make Critical Role harder to follow and engage with? Let's make it 3 at once.
Yeah, that's one question I have is how are they going to I completely forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted by a comment. I just saw what Nacho wrote. Jeremy said that Jeremy advised him to stick to 5e. I watched the fireside chat. I missed that part. If that's the case, that's very interesting. We're going to dig more into those theories in a minute. I do like seeing some of these theories in chat. Orange Cat thinks that Matt and Marisha are having a baby. Could be.
Big news if true.
Big if true. So he in the intro video, they said that Brennan said that he surveyed all the players and because he has 13 players now. He surveyed all of them and tried to figure out what kind of campaign they were looking for, and he said he was able to split them into 3 groups of preference: soldiers, seekers, and schemers. The soldiers wanted a kind of traditional combat-focused campaign. The seekers wanted a more discovery and exploration and plot twisty kind of campaign. And then there were the schemers who wanted sort of the Game of Thrones political machination kind of stuff. And so that is how they get broke. These 13 cast members, which I'll introduce right now. So we've got the main 8: Laura Bailey, Taliesin Jaffe, Ashley Johnson, Liam O'Brien, Marisha Ray. Marisha Ray is giving AI fingers there a little bit. What's up with your fingers, Marisha? Um, Matt Mercer, Sam Riegel, and Travis Willingham. Then Luis Carrazzo, who was on EXU Calamity.
Hmm.
I think that was the only one, but he was fantastic in that. Robbie Damon, who, if they hadn't brought him back, their people would have rioted. It's not it's an understatement to say fan favorite Robbie Damon.
Yeah, teen heartthrob.
He's like a less offensive version of Sam, I think. He's like
Wow.
he's got Sam's charm without Sam's kind of like asshole offensiveness.
Yeah.
Part of Sam's humor is how he's a prick.
And he does it expertly. If Robbie's offering to give you a hug, you're like, yeah, let me get in there. If Sam's offering to give you a hug, you're like, he's gonna put a sign on my back. I don't know what it is, but something's coming. You're like, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
And I love that
Robbie's-
about him.
Robbie's
But-
too earnest to be mean.
Yeah.
Then we have a Bria Iyengar, and the one person I was really not familiar with, Whitney Moore. I didn't know who this person was. I looked her up. Fair warning, her Instagram has a lot of skin on it. If you're looking her up at work, just be aware. She's got kind of like that early 2000s Suicide Girl kind of vibe.
Suicide Girl. Wow.
You remember
Okay.
that? Yeah,
Kinda,
that was a long
yeah.
time ago. Then Alexander Ward, who, if you recognize him, you probably recognize him from Vampire Masquerade stuff. He does L.A. and New York by Night, and Mr. B. Liam. It's coming out Thursday, October 2nd. I think that's all the news we had through here. Exandria isn't going anywhere. It's just getting relegated to live shows, etc. Okay, so now that we know all that, also here is a picture of the new set. They've gone very different. Going from Campaign 2 to Campaign 3 to Age of Umbra, their sets got progressively darker, and now this has a distinct, like, Campaign 1 kind of vibe. We can see it more in the video here. Oops. Yeah, this is their actual set.
It's giving like Pumat Soul, Magic Shop
Mm.
vibes. At least to me, with like the I don't know, you got the scarves, you got the hangings. It's cool. It's pretty.
So let's talk about Daggerheart versus D&D.
Mm.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah, well, so to kind of like piggyback on what Nacho was saying there earlier, in the fireside chat, they said Perkins and Crawford were like part of the conversation / made a very good case that it would be easier. And I was not super sympathetic to the idea that like boy genius Brendan Lee Mulligan is not capable of running a new system. Like we all like we have, he's got it. But integrating 14 other players with different levels of experience and proficiency perhaps would be a heavier lift. And that's what they said on the fireside chat is like the main reason they're sticking with D&D is they're changing so many other things. They're interested in sinking their teeth into 2024. And then they kind of like vamped on how, yeah, we're going to probably have some like new subclasses. And then I was like, oh, you have Perkins and Crawford in house. You have the opportunity to like, they kept saying like, I don't know if what we're doing is homebrew anymore because the guys who wrote the game are doing it. So what is this? So they have this crazy opportunity, one, just from like a artistic creative standpoint, and two, and like equally worth paying attention to from a business standpoint, they could be more D&D than D&D, depending on what WotC does going forward, which I'm excited to talk about later in the show. But they have the guys who made D&D now making their campaign world frame, contributing to like a customized rule set, it's not a bad bet to say that the market for a D&D world book, splat book, adventure path, whatever, is going to be equally, if not more viable than a Daggerheart one in whatever 3 years. It's a D&D is a safer bet, and I think that's why a lot of the smart money was on D&D in the first place. I thought they were going to swing for the fences, and I think my opinion of that crystallized before everybody from Seattle moved to LA.
When I first heard that the announcement yesterday that they were going to use 5e, I was at first disappointed. I think that if they had chosen to use Daggerheart, it would have been the ultimate vote of confidence in the system. Not that I've already seen some takes from people who say that this is explicitly a vote of unconfidence in Daggerheart and that it is spelling the death knell of the system and yada yada. And to all those people, just calm down. No, that's not accurate. As I was thinking about it, there's more to this. I mean, yeah, you've got a bunch of players in a brand new system, but I think it's more that the thing that, yes, I'm disappointed that they're going to use 5e. Is it enough? Is that disappointment great enough for me to not even give this a try? No, absolutely not. Of course, I'm going to give this a try. I find that splitting them into 3 groups is very compelling. I find that interesting. I'm really curious to see how Brennan is going to pull that off, because he's a master storyteller. I've seen a lot of his content. I know how he does this. He's really good at it. But then the other thing is, I think using 5e versus Daggerheart would be a bigger deal if Matt Mercer was the game master. Brennan Lee Mulligan behind the game master screen, the system matters less than it does with Matthew Mercer. I've watched a lot, like I said, a lot of Dimension 20. I've seen a lot of Brennan Lee Mulligan. He uses 5e a lot, but he also runs Kids on Bikes. He's run homebrew systems. He's run several systems. And you know what? When he's behind that screen, it doesn't matter. It feels the same every single time. Every piece of D20 content where he's GMing feels the exact same, regardless of the system. It never stopped blowing up. They had that fun mechanic where they could, explode on their abilities. But by and large, it's him. He's the product. And so whether they're rolling hope and fear or they're casting guiding bolt, I don't know if it really matters that much. From a perspective of how much I'm going to enjoy the show. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Phil made a Pink Floyd reference, so my mind went blank for a little bit. I had a flashback.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah, just so you know, we are reading what you're saying all of the time and loving it. But it is occasionally distracting too. That's not me saying to stop. I think there's been a movement of like system matters is a rallying cry you hear in TTRPG spaces, mostly in response to everybody trying to make 5e into whatever version of a story they're trying to tell and refusing for irrational reasons to ever do any other game, even though some of them are better suited for what they're doing before you even talk about morality or ethics or artistic integrity. But counterpoint, no, it doesn't. System doesn't matter. If you're doing it right, system matters a lot less than you think. When the mechanics are like the primary concern of the game, beyond maybe character creation or like the first couple times we're playing it and like analyzing it and test driving it, that's not the table for me. The hacks and the exploits and I'm trying to defeat some computer simulation video game style of play is popular, but comes with a huge opportunity cost that an actual play in particular is going to feel like. A lot of the most boring parts of Critical Role, let's say, are combat, because that's where the mechanics take over, and the story kind of takes a back seat. So I do think it would have been a glowing endorsement to go all in on Daggerheart, but I don't think it's the death knell of Daggerheart, as some doomsayers are out there saying. And I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference as far as what it's going to feel like to watch or listen to Campaign 4.
Oh, I remembered the thing I forgot mid-sentence a couple of minutes ago. We were talking about the 3 different groups. And the thing that I'm concerned about, what I want to know is, let's say I like the soldiers group, but I don't really care about the seekers group. Can I just watch the soldier episodes and still understand what's going on? Like, how interconnected are the stories going to be? Do I have to watch 8 hours of actual play a week that I don't care about just to be able to understand the 3 hours a week that I do care about? And somebody asked Brennan about this in the fireside chat, and he basically said, I don't know yet.
And which is
a
great answer. Great answer.
Yeah. But I hope it's clear. I hope it doesn't turn into an MCU where if you miss one thing, you're effed. I missed a couple things in the MCU, and I don't understand half of what's going on in the movies I see now.
Yeah, I mean that is this is the pitfall in every form of entertainment right now. It's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe effect, where it's just like, all right, let's make 12 things that all interconnect. And if anyone's going to earn it, I think it's Brennan Lee Mulligan. My understanding, just to zoom out for a sec, because out of everybody watching, like, I don't know percentage wise how many of you are like critters are going to watch Campaign 4, and like even if you don't, there are people who are like against Critical Role. There are people who are like, it's fine, but I don't have the time or the interest to watch other people play D&D. That eats into my time of playing D&D. I think you should be paying attention to this one, because we're awesome, so you can just hang out and listen to us talk about it. But this is one of the most influential forces in our hobby. So the idea that they are still sticking with D&D and doing new things is going to make an impact, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see more people experimenting with a Westmarch style of play, feeling like that is an option to them. Just swinging for the fences. I mean, it does have another edge to it with like the Mercer effect is now going to be the Mulligan effect, I suppose, and people are going to be overly ambitious. But hearing Brennan answer that fan question of like, what's going to happen, and him being like, I can tell you what the first 4 episodes are like because we recorded them already. But until the players interact with what I have established as the world, I don't know where things are going to go. And hopefully we're going to start to intermingle these parties, which is going to be an interesting challenge for them to pull off. But he comes out and says, like, I don't know who the BBEG is until the players decide which one of these ambiguously moral people they hate the most and interact with the most and engage with the most. And I think that is an amazing lesson that people can learn from this, even if you're not experiencing hours and hours and hours of Critical Role. Just that one conversation there is like a smarter way to DM. A lot of people see something like this, which who knows, this will be an 18-month saga with 13 people involved, and see it as like some super ambitious thing that he has in a binder already before they started. And no, it's all player input.
Yeah, they did not announce how the structure of it. We probably won't find that out until later on. Phil, it doesn't look like it's actual West Marches. It's like more just separate campaigns in a parallel world. Each to yeah, no, they didn't say exactly how long it's going to be.
They're talking about like cross pollination. Like he said, I don't know if it's the fireside chat or the intro video that they put out yesterday, like the polished one, but he did talk about like everyone having a chance to play with everyone over the course of the campaign. So
Well,
that's
I think they've
exciting.
said that the first 4 episodes are what they call it. He called a prologue or something, where they're
An
not going to be split
overture.
at a group overture, right? So I think probably what we'll see is they start with 3 or 4 people at the table, and then gradually over a couple episodes, they build up to a massive table. Which good luck, Brennan. You know, having chaos monkeys like Abria Iyengar and Sam Riegel at the same table with 12 other people, literally at the same time. We'll see how that goes.
I have here in my notes about like the cast. Where's Lou? What the? We got all these people. I'm going to say
You-
first guest star opportunity.
Yeah, they didn't bring over any D20 regulars.
No, yeah, it's interesting actually. Yeah, none of them are not an Emily, not a Murph.
Twinsdale, what did I lose? My loss of Daggerheart. Oh no. I haven't had any deaths in the family that I'm aware of. Unless you know something I don't, that would be really weird.
Ominous. I'm just going to start
Yeah,
saying that to
a
people.
little ominous. I'm so sorry for your loss. Um,
Daggerheart season
thoughts
4.
thoughts on the new cast members? I'm pretty excited. I'm really interested to see how these synergies go down. I'm sure that they're probably it's 3 tables, so you've got 4, 4, and 5, which definitely feels a lot more like Brennan's speed. Most D20 things are 6 or less cast members. And so I was curious how Brennan was going to handle that. I was like, how does he handle a table with 8 people? Oh, the thing I was going to mention a minute ago, we were talking about the Mercer effect. No, there's going to be a new Matt Mercer effect where he's going to be so good as a player, people will be mad about it. And they'll say he's setting up these unrealistic standards of being a TTRPG player that no one can compare to. And it's not fair.
It's interesting because he had to, like, we've seen him play, not over a long period of time, but we've seen him play in Exandria, where kind of by nature, he's got to be holding back. Like, this is his world. He has too much influence, and he's a generous, creative guy, so he's not going to exert that influence. He played a dumb dwarf who didn't know what was going on, which props to him. But now he can go all out. He doesn't have some background process going in his mind about what the lore really is. Should he correct somebody? Can he make a choice and the DM feels like it's super official and they can never say no to him or whatever? There's like a power imbalance there that's happening that is now gone. And also, Brendan Lee Mulligan is not going to pull any punches. They said something about like custom rules. They were like tiptoeing around spoilers. But he said with, what is it, 13, 14 characters at the table, there is no protagonist. There is no plot armor. People can die was like the gist I was getting. And that might be my projection. That might be my hopes and dreams. But part of a West Marches style campaign potentially is the ability to play multiple characters. And the fastest way to do that is because the previous character ate it and you had to make a new one. And those are huge moments in storytelling, especially in Critical Role, in my opinion.
So I think we're probably ready to move on. What do you think? Do you have a lot of other passionate thoughts on this?
No, I do like that they're starting fresh, like whatever, not with the system, but with a new story. Like it feels like an easier on ramp if you are on the side of, hey, I love Critical Role. I've been trying to convince somebody to like watch it, and they're, I don't even, what's 1,000 hours of content now? It's just like, oh, this cool thing that happened is relevant because something happened 8 years ago. Fresh start. Like you can start episode 1 and that's it. You see that guy? He's really funny. That's that's the background anyone's bringing into it. Otherwise, yeah, you can just start here and it's new and exciting, which I like. I'm ready for.
So moving on. We've had some really big news announcements in the last 2 days, and that I didn't even get to put into the agenda that apparently Shadow Dark has organized play now.
Hmm.
Um, I just saw an email about that like an hour ago. I didn't even have time to read it. I just saw the headline, but Shadow Dark apparently has organized play, so we didn't even really have time to talk about this week. Because moving on, we got a wild drop. I saw Ryan put this in our Discord chat, and he was said Dark Sun confirmed, and my first thought was Pushaw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not really though. What is it? And then I looked, and holy crap, it's pretty much Dark Sun. Four apocalyptic subclasses, and these are pretty short. I thought we could just read through all of them because I have thoughts. There's some things I really like, some things I really don't like. But yeah, we get the Circle of Preservation Druid, the Gladiator Fighter, the Defiled Sorcery Sorcerer, and the Sorcerer King Patron Warlock. And what's funny is that Todd Kendrick put out a video on this just right away. Todd's on it. That guy is one of the fastest YouTubers I've seen. He put out a video, and he didn't say the words Dark Sun, but when he mentioned the Sorcerer King, he kind of did a double eyebrow up thing. Todd was only let go by Wizards a couple months ago. He probably knows about Dark Sun. He's probably known for a while. Anyway, let's look at these subclasses. I don't know, Ryan, what were your first thoughts when you started taking a look at this and realized that this was probably Dark Sun?
It's such a sticky nest of things. I feel like so many people have like planted flags on one side or the other. There's like a battle line drawn. It's like like partisan in not even political. It's like there's two camps here. Dark Sun can never be made again because there's bad things in there. And other people have taken the opposite thing of like, I don't know, anti-Will Crusade edginess. I like it because it is very different, and I am a fiend for variety. I like it because a post-apocalyptic vibe, more on that soon, is I think right for D&D in a lot of ways. One, there's all this cool stuff laying around in ruins. Why? Something bad happened. Things went south. Two, these incredible things are possible. Why are we at this level of society technology? Because really bad things happened, or because there's a cost. The idea of like the gods are gone and magic screws things up unless you're super careful. Really interesting to me before I even touch the like allegory of it all, of like technology is potentially dangerous in a world of like nuclear catastrophe on the horizon at any given moment, and climate change, which is kind of basically about to jump full with both feet onto the third rail. There is cannibalism in here, and 40 years ago it was portrayed in a way that kind of reinforced some colonialist stereotypes. So like I think you can have cannibals and not do that. That's an interesting challenge, I guess, artistically. And two, there is slavery in here, which some people don't want in their games, and I totally respect that. You don't have to play Dark Sun. I think it's strange to me to be like, this thing is too bad to include in this game about murdering stuff.
Mm.
We murder, like it's the D&D is about killing stuff, and then it's like, well, this guy can't be that bad. It's like, well, you're gonna kill him, right? Like it's not pro slavery. It's that it's the existence of it that is the question here. I mean, maybe someone with a double digit IQ is confused about the vantage point about this all, but I think, I don't know. Everybody knows I'm pretty damn progressive, but I am also suspicious of like, ooh, can't discuss that topic. Like, I don't know, man. So I think they could do it well. I think there will be plenty of internet commentary on both sides of the aisle or whatever about it. But I'm pumped.
Yeah.
I am pumped. I like the idea.
Let's go through these subclasses, and then I have a prediction that I'll save for the end of what I'm pretty sure will happen when this book comes out. So first of all, the Circle of Preservation Druid. Druids of the Circle of Preservation work tirelessly to conserve natural resources and restore places once ruined by greed and exploration, blah, blah, blah. So they get, it's a very cleric-y kind of druid. They get Bless, Lesser Restoration, Sanctuary, Death Ward, Greater Restoration. Then here's the first thing that I don't like. Level 3 Preserve Land is a bonus action. You can spend one use of your wild shape to fill a 15-foot cube originating from a point on the ground you can see within 120 feet of yourself. So it lasts for a minute, or if you move 120 feet away. So you can make a 15-foot cube where in that cube you can give, once per turn, you can give a creature 1d4 plus your druid level hit points, temporary hit points. Or you can end frightened or poisoned. Purify's fine. That's fine. You make a little shelter aura and things in there, okay. But that bolster, it's too many temporary hit points. There's so many freaking sources of temporary hit points in 2024 D&D. It's crazy. Non-magical vegetation. Okay, so it turns into difficult terrain. Bonus action, you can move the cube. Then you have frugal casting. When you cast a druid spell, you can cast it without material components, except for if they get used by them. Then this is confusing. Whenever you cast a druid spell that requires material components consumed by spells, a 10% chance the component isn't consumed as part of the casting. But I guess you roll percentile dice. It doesn't tell you how to resolve that.
It's interesting. As someone who's like written some stuff, I like stuff like this where it's just like, yeah, you know how to do math. All right, like roll a d10 on a 1 or a 0. Yeah, this happens. And honestly, I think this is the only part of this that matters, because it's like you can hand wave material components unless they matter, which is what baseline most tables are doing in the first place. It's not like,
Right.
did you get bat guano at the store? Nobody. I mean, I love that kind of thing, but it's not happening most of the time. The only time a player cares is if it has a dollar sign, and that's because I beat them over the head that they need to do it. Otherwise, no one's paying attention to material components.
Then at level 6, your cube gets some upgrades. It can do enemies damage if they end their turn there and fail a wisdom saving throw. Then at level 10, here's the next thing I don't like. You can cast Lesser Restoration or Greater Restoration without expending a spell slot or requiring spell components. Because, you know, if you think that it's too hard to die in 5e D&D, and so you maybe try to control the freely available nature of resurrection by maybe controlling the diamond trade and making diamonds hard to acquire, well, get fucked. That doesn't work anymore. They can cast it with or without diamonds, so they just nullify that one way of homebrewing the game. What were you gonna say?
I'm going to say, so restorations are going to do, they're like removing conditions, right? It's not, I think your processing is like resurrection.
Oh, did I say resurrection? Yeah, that's not what I meant.
No, you said restoration, but it's, so you're not bringing people back to life with these spells. You are removing conditions.
No, you're
which again, it's hard to separate like my hopes from reality sometimes in this UA area, but I think this points to conditions mattering more. We're entering a world where the air is poison. Heat exhaustion,
Yeah, Phil has the
levels,
right of it.
just different ongoing conditions. I think there are hit points are you're as effective at 100% as 1% of your hit points, and you get them back very quickly. We're stacking a million ways to get temporary hit points. I will say my issue with temporary hit points is they don't stack. So if my bard is giving it to me and my druid is giving it to me and I have some incentive to do something in my gameplay loop that gives me temporary hit points, all that kind of cancels out. And now we're competing for effect.
Yeah.
But I think maybe we see more poison, more exhaustion, more, I don't know, maybe, resource scarcity. Like I like a game where the stuff matters. It matters to have these material components. So maybe they enforce that in this potentially Dark Sun setting.
So the reason why I have a problem with temporary hit points is you're right, they don't stack, but the problem is they're so freely available and there's so many ways to get them that you will always have, like, in 2014 5e, there's a feature like Inspiring Leader, where after a short rest you give a speech and everyone gets temporary hit points, and then once those temporary hit points are gone, they're just gone. It's like a little extra buffer. But now so many classes have ways to regenerate temporary hit points on a turn by turn basis. It's like I'm constantly giving someone 10 temporary hit points or 15 or 20 every single turn, that as a dungeon master, you're just having to up all of your enemies' damage to compensate for that. And then so if for some reason they're not getting temporary hit points, then now you're doing way too much damage and you're going to have to pull back because you didn't account for. It's just, it makes it swingier and harder to kill PCs in a game where they're already way too hard to kill. That's my problem.
Yeah. My problem is both of those things.
Here. Moving on. Level 14 Sacrosanct Land. Your cube gets 30 feet big. You can use your reaction to have damage. Then the Gladiator Fighter, which when I read this opening paragraph, gladiators are just as performers of their warriors, whether brawling in underground fighting rings or fighting for survival in bloodstained arenas. Gladiator combines martial skill with theatrics to awe and intimidate their audiences. Hell yeah. Then I read the mechanics and I'm like, oh no. The mechanics are basically just that you get an additional weapon mastery several times per long rest. That's basically it. That's the whole class.
Well, I think there's a couple like little, like your charisma does this, which is potentially problematic and like for optimizers, but I actually like secondary or tertiary ability scores mattering. So you have weapon mastery already, and this is their answer for everything. It's just like you get more of the stuff you already have. I like new stuff, right? Most every subclass is like, also you have these spells that you already probably could get 100 otherwise. This at least, like, you get a slightly better version of a weapon mastery, and you can choose. These are closer to maneuvers of a battle master, I think, than your vanilla weapon mastery was like you choose it in the morning, it's on this weapon. Like I can do bleed on this enemy and then bluff on this enemy and then stumble on this enemy in the same fight with the same weapon if I have the resources to spend.
Mm-hmm. So my thing is that if you want to have a charisma leaning fighter, do that, but give them charisma-ish kinds of things to do. Like bleed, stumble, rive, rush, stagger. These don't feel like charisma kind of moves. Give us distract. Give us dazzle. Make it more like what the Swordsbard should have been. But with less magic and more, borrow stuff from the Battlemaster Fighter and then give us some charisma kind of stuff like a vicious mockery kind of thing, but instead of a spell, like you have a witticism that can give an enemy disadvantage on an attack, something like that. That feels more like, I don't know.
Hey, Watsy, I know you're listening. There's this company called Paizo, and they make this game called Pathfinder. And in that game, there is let's call them a swashbuckler rogue type. And oh boy, is that a good class? Is that a good class? You could take some lessons, get some panache.
So moving on to the Defiled Sorcerer. Your innate power siphons life essence from the surrounding world. At your command, creatures grow sick and plants wither to husks. You draw power from the corruption of life itself, draining vitality to fuel destructive magic. So the basic thing is you can spend hit dice to add to damage. That's the main thing. And I know I sound like I'm being dismissive, but I actually think that's very thematically very on brand for what they're trying to go for here. spending your own life energy. That feels sorcerish, because sorcerers are all about taking magic, bending it, manipulating it, adding mechanics on top of existing things. And so this is a way to do that. It's like I'm using my own life energy to empower spell, or even better, life steal, which is where you can basically take hit dice from another creature. And then here's the thing: they have this little gray box here to remind you that monsters have hit dice. Because the thing I like the idea of this, of like, oh, I'm stealing someone else's life energy, but there ain't no way I'm going to start tracking hit dice for monsters. I don't know anybody who does. Brian, do you track hit dice for monsters?
Not if I am making a monster for public consumption, yes, and that is the only reason. Otherwise, I'm like, this number feels good.
The only time I've ever cared about monster hit dice was once when a big bad was almost killed and got away, and I was trying to have him short rest, and I was like, oh, how many hit dice can he spend? That's the only time I've ever thought about hit dice for a monster, was when a baddie was trying to short rest. But
interesting. I mean, I'm on record a bunch of times being like, I want a constitution-based sorcerer, right? Magic's in your blood. Burn that blood. Let's go. Right? So this is cool. I don't think a lot of tables are using hit die all that much, unless the DM is really forcing them to. Most players are going to take a long rest and not a short rest. So it feels like an underutilized resource on one hand. So like, cool, good on them for making hit dice relevant again. But two, it seems like maybe too easy to spend them, but hey, sorcerers need to win. I like it. It feels right. It feels like we're spending our own vitality to hurt people, and then being able to steal monsters or whatever adversaries' life force to hurt other people. Also pretty dope, especially for something called the Defiler. Hey, double crit fail. You could do whatever you want, but yeah,
yeah, that is something that you really think about, right? Because monsters don't usually rest; they live and then they are killed.
And that's a shame. That's a shame. That's why I'm all about, like, I will throw an overpowered challenge at people and have it run away at half health, and then they can fight it again. Because, like, what's not part of your favorite stories? The introduction of the BBEG and then their death immediately in that same scene. You need recurring antagonists if you're going to tell an interesting story, and not always easy to do at the table.
The Defiler gets Inflict Wounds, Ray of Sickness, Bestow Curse, Blight, Anti-Life Shell, Contagion. They get some pretty harsh spells. Level 6, they get Corrupted Caster, that when they transform sorcery points into a spell slot, you can wreath their body in a protective web of defiling energy. Roll a number of d6s equal to the level of spell slot created. You gain, oh, look at that, temporary hit points equal to the total rolled. So as soon as your druid, the temporary HP you got from your druid friend runs out, bam, you just give yourself temporary hit points, and then your dungeon master can never ever hit you and get your hit points down, and you will always win at Dungeons and Dragons. At level 14, you get Withering Aura, which gives you a 15-foot emanation. When an enemy within the aura hits with an attack roll, you can reduce that attack's damage against you. When an enemy dives in the aura, you regain 1d4 sorcery points. That's pretty cool. Sucking up that life energy. At level 18, your immunity to poison and exhaustion, and the size of your Withering Aura increases to 30-foot emanation. Enemies can't regain hit points while in your aura. Whoa. Look at that, a roving bone chill.
Pretty cool. I will say I almost always ignore the level 18 abilities on these things because they don't come up very much.
Sure.
But it is on brand for this thing. And again, I see capital P poisoned and capital E exhaustion, and I'm thinking maybe that's going to be more of a thing in this to be determined potential future setting that we're going to visit.
Are they not capitalized in?
No, I'm saying they're the conditions.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Then finally, the Sorcerer King patron. This is the one I have the biggest problem with. I got a lot of problems.
Get him.
Your pact draws from the power of a monstrous tyrannical force akin to a demigod or overwhelmingly powerful magic user. Through your pact, you herald this tyrant's interests in the world, channeling their influence and mind-bending psionic power. Maybe doing a little slaving, probably. Level 3 Sorcerer King spells. The magic of your patron ensures you always have certain spells ready, blah, blah, blah. You get Command, Compelled Duel, Hold Person, Mind Spike, Wrathful Smite, Fear Sending, Compulsion, Staggering Smite, Dominate Person, Sniper Static. This whole subclass is based around Command. And that's why it's a very big deal. Because of this level 3 feature called Voice of Tyranny. You can cast Command as a bonus action without expending a spell slot. You can do so a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is crazy overpowered for level 3. This is wild. Absolutely wild. Also because if you can cast it without expending a spell slot, does that mean you can still take the magic action on your turn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so not only can you cast Command as a bonus action, you can also cast a leveled spell on your turn because this doesn't use a spell slot.
Like Command, perhaps, which is on your spell list.
So what you could do is, at level 6, your patron's power surges through you, allowing you to rally your enemies. When you cast a spell using a packed magic spell slot, you cast Profane Energy, power to erupt in a 30-foot emanation originating from you. For each creature you see in the emanation, choose one of the following effects. Martial creature has advantage on attack rolls. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC or have the frightened condition until the end of its next turn. So I can roll into melee. I can cast Armor of Agathis on myself. All allies within 30 feet get advantage on their next attack roll, on all attack rolls until the end of its next turn. Plus, all enemies have to succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened. And I can cast Control on somebody after doing all that. And then at level 14, I can do it twice. Level 10, Vindictive Rebuke, you use a reaction to do some damage. Level 14, Absolute Tyranny, you wield your patron's tyrannical might with absolute conviction. Whenever you cast Command, you can target one additional creature within the spell's range. Additionally, a creature frightened by you automatically fails a saving throw against any command you cast. So level 14, you have 5th level spell slots. When you cast Command at 5th level, you're doing, 4 targets? Because it's a level 2 spell slot, and you get +1 for each level. 3, 4, 5. Wait. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's 4. But you could upcat. With this, you can target 6 people, and then as a bonus action, you can cast it again as a bonus action, so you could target 12 creatures.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and I'm sure it's been answered already. But if I can cast it without burning a slot, but as a warlock, all of my slots are the same and maxed out, can I bonus action cast 5th level Command without spending a slot? Like, I think that's how I would rule it at the table without looking at stuff. Hey,
Yeah,
everybody, a DM can make a monster with the player character subclass at the same time. This feels like a monster to me, and this feels like a monster I would never bring to the table, because it's like, you don't get a turn, and now you don't get a turn, and now you don't get a turn, and the rest of y'all are running away. Isn't this fun? Isn't this a game we're playing?
Yeah, this is being able to, I mean, at level 3, your charisma's probably 16, so 3 times per long rest, you are commanding an enemy. 3 times per long rest, you're just nullifying an enemy turn, in addition to whatever you're doing on your action, that's just wild. How do they not see this?
Well, I mean, it is a playtest. It's easier to take things down, I guess. And it is a very interesting thing to be the envoy of the evil overlord in a game. Like, that's a cool place to start, right? But I don't know, someone's gonna take this subclass and play it in a game that has nothing to do with Dark Sun and be like, well, whatever. Yeah, I quit that job, but now I have all these dope abilities, and maybe the DM will make me the main character and make it matter, or I just get to cast command all the time.
Yeah, I just go in and I tell, a dozen enemies at a time to drop their weapons and do nothing every turn. Combat's real fun. Then we just go
Hmm.
in and kill them all, and the DM never gets to do anything. It's really fun. Yeah,
Also,
I don't
hey,
like this.
all those guys are off the map now. Now this is a logistical nightmare.
So here's my prediction. Here's what I think
Yes.
is going to happen. So they're clearly doing Dark Sun, right? I mean, this couldn't be for something else. If they were like, this is now, releasing a book in Kalimshan, and they have Sorcerer King patrons in Kalimshan now, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to put out a Dark Sun book, and they're going to sanitize it, right? They're going to strip away a lot of the edgy stuff, and that'll be fine for most people. But what's the problem? What's really going to happen is that at the beginning of the book, they're going to put a disclaimer. They're going to put maybe just half a column about the legacy of problematic stuff in D&D, and that will piss off everybody because all the trucker hat people, what I'm talking about, the trucker hat crowd is going to be like, how dare you tarnish the legacy of Gary goddamn Gygax? There's people are going to be super mad because of that, and then everyone else will be mad because it won't go far enough to address the problematic nature of the setting. It'll be either too much or too little, and no one will be happy, and we'll get a sanitized Dark Sun that has all the edgy stuff stripped out of it. That's my
And yes, absolutely. I I feel like I try to take the counterpoint sometimes, but like that's 100%. Everyone's gonna be mad about this one. But like I don't know, silver lining or Ryan's corner here. I like that they're taking risks. This is not a company that is super into that. Um, they always do the safest thing possible and still manage to step on a rake like Sideshow Bob in the Field of Rakes. So now, them doing this thing, which they said they would never do, right? All those people who said they would never do it no longer work at the companies. So maybe that's part of the opportunity here too. But I don't know. There's a chance they do it right. There's a chance everyone yells about it, and then we get a bunch of cool fan-made versions of Dark Sun done right because of this. And again, in just like a media landscape where every freaking thing is recycled, right? And okay, this is recycled. Never mind. This is a reboot of something, but like at least they're, I don't know, they're doing something that isn't Forgotten Realms. And like, say what you will about Forgotten Realms, it's all we get anymore.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but with just what they've done in the last 5 years with Spelljammer and with Planescape, I mean, as far as I know, none of those have really hit,
Mm.
right? I know Spelljammer was, but Planescape, I don't know if it was good or not. I didn't really pay that much attention to it, but I don't think it was a big deal. Like, I don't think people really loved it, right? So, like, why are they gonna get it right this third time, with probably the most controversial, problematic setting? Like, are they leaning into that? Are they going, all these other companies are stealing our thunder with these huge announcements? Do we need to do something that's gonna get the people tweeting again?
Could be. Yeah, they might be they might be catering to the worst aspects of whatever American culture, like so many other companies are right now. Yeah, I don't see this as them like kowtowing to some sort of like political headwind, but it very well could. That might be naive of me. I do. My optimistic viewpoint here is that the people making the game and the people making the decisions that we were all very upset about are two different sets of people. And based on the last year or two of turnover, both of those sets of people are different. I don't think the guys in the C-suite are any better necessarily, but maybe they're just not paying attention anymore, which is also possible. And now there's a new set of creatives who okay, there's a 10-year plan that the last guys left on a desk somewhere, but like new people who love this game, who want to make cool new stuff, are going to try to make cool new stuff, and this is a way to do it. The people who made Spelljammer aren't the people who are going to be making this. Does that mean this is going to be good in ways that was bad? No, absolutely not. I'm prepared for this to be a disaster on every level. But I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious to hear the reasoning behind this. Really looking forward to more information about Dark Sun, whatever it's going to be. And Todd Kenrick, in your video about the UA, I saw that wink. You knew this was happening. You knew about this. You're just probably NDA'd. I'm sure. I'm sure your severance package was tied to a very restrictive NDA. But moving on, the next thing, I discovered a little Kickstarter that I enjoyed quite a bit called Return of the Living Dead, the 40th anniversary VHS TTRPG, VHS standing for Very Horror Stories, which is a kind of hex crawly, kind of old school. It's very exploration. You enter an area and you roll to find out what's in that area, and then things happen based on that, where it all comes in this like fake VHS box. Oh, that's loud.
Sounds.
Let me skip forward the animation. Oh. So it is a TTRPG, but it's got a lot of board game elements, and it's there's a lot of rules about playing solo. I downloaded. There's like a 60-page quick start guide that has big font. It took me like 20 minutes to read it. It's pretty interesting. We're going to get into the rules. So here we can see some of it's got tokens. It has lots of maps, and that you play through scenarios as they call them films, where Return of the Living Dead is a film. They have a sci-fi horror film, and each one comes with its own predetermined areas. And then you have here's the minis and Return of the Living Dead. Where was some of the stuff about the a lot of solo rules. It's basically designed for solo play first, kind of. Wounds and insanity, strength, agility, mind, and charisma. You have traits. Some you can use while you're calm, some while you're in a fear mode. Monsters get fear and trinkets. There's a mode for you to play Monster V players. It says that expect that most the characters are going to die, so it has rules for coming back as a ghost or as what they call a non-protagonist actor. Which are the side characters. Checks tension levels, combat. There's some of the stuff in here I wanted to highlight that was pretty interesting. Play the monster. They have things like rewind and fast forward to montage a scene, or to go back if you messed up something. So I think these rules are pretty interesting. I like the way that it focuses on, like a movie, that there's on-screen action and off-screen action. And I like that it comes in this fake VHS box. I don't know. Ryan, you got any thoughts on this as I'm scrolling through trying to find the thing that I was actually looking for?
I mean, yeah, I'm the target audience for something like this. Not even because I'm a huge horror fan, but because I remember sleeping better when the TV was, I don't know, emitting that certain kind of radiation that you only get from vacuum tubes. Like I am the VHS guy. Some of you know what I mean. I like a game where everybody knows, in this case, literally the movie that they're in. It's easier to lean into your character when there's a bunch of expected tropes, even if you're going against those tropes. Like you're exploring them all, and a zombie's gonna jump out, and like, yeah, you could be the hard ass guy with the baseball bat with nails in it, or you could be the person who pees their pants and runs away. And I don't know. That's fun. Whereas sometimes in an open-ended fantasy setting, it's like you're playing Game of Thrones, you're playing Monty Python, I'm playing Conan the Barbarian, and it's not quite clicking in the same way as a focused experience.
Yeah, so if you're interested in running like a very film, like the maps are called sets, it's all very movie focused, which I like, and it's very movie trope focused. You know, like the monster has monsters either fight or they escape. They don't you can't chase a monster, they just escape. And there's
Hmm.
like little rules like that, very movie focused kinds of stuff. Uh, yeah. So that is Return of the Living Dead. The next thing that we're going to talk about, even though we're kind of running out of time, we're not really having a roundtable discussion. We already kind of roundtabled. Is that Scorched Basin is a setting come out from Homie and the Dude, and inside scoop, both this guy and I are in it. Ryan, tell them how we're in it.
Spoilers. We are part of a, a veritable army of TTRPG creators who are adding our voices to this game. Because when Homie and the Dude, friends of the channel, make a game, they go so hard. There are NPC voiceovers coming, and if you have experience with their other products, you have seen this in action. Um, the way they provide maps upon maps upon maps, the way they just like go so deep into the world building. I am genuinely excited for this product. If we don't in fact get us a Dark Sun, this is scratching some of those itches. Dune times Mad Max times high fantasy. What more can I say? It's going to be dope.
Yeah, I'll be talking more about it in an upcoming video. But it was pretty cool to hear my voiceover work, which is something I hadn't really done before. Just little bits and pieces here and there. So that was kind of fun. But moving on, next, there was a couple things from last week or a couple weeks ago that we didn't get to that I just wanted to touch on, like Morkham Asylum. I think Morkborg. I think I love Morkborg mostly for the name. I think it's probably one of the best TTRPG names I've ever seen. So anytime there's a portmanteau of Morkborg into with another genre, like we talked about, Morkborg was like a DuckTales Morkborg thing. Remember that a few weeks ago? It was like
Do you know
Morkborg,
that scene? I want to say it's the first season of Family Guy,
Duckborg.
but
What was it?
Duckborg. Duckborg sounds incredible. Actually, I'm sorry I wasn't here for that one. The there's a scene in early Family Guy where he hits his knee and he goes, ah, and he does it for so long that it's not funny anymore, and then
Right.
he keeps it stays on your screen and it becomes funny again and funnier in a different way. And that has kind of been my experience with the Mork wave of like, cool, like one Morkborg came out dope. Bunch of people making their own versions of Pirate Borg. Awesome, cool. Then it's just like, I feel like we're just kind of like hopping on a bandwagon here, to like low hanging fruit. And now it's just like, yeah, you know what? Let's go. How many of these can we? How many of these can we get? I'm here for it. Give me more. Give me all the Morks. Give me the Mork and Mindy. Oh, wait. Someone write that down. That's a good
Hey
idea.
now. Oh, TM TM TM.
That's mine.
Yeah, Phil, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get to the DMG chapter 2 this week. Next week for sure, we'll get back to the DMG chapter
It
2.
wouldn't be fair without Brad here to revisit that.
Right, yeah, that's why. We were prepared to talk about it, but then Brad ran off to join the circus, so we were not able to do it this week. Yeah, so Morkborg X Arkham Asylum. I think Arkham Asylum is a pretty cool setting. I loved those games. So how does it blend with the Morkborg system? Probably fine. The Mork Knight. It's just silly. And I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts on this, Ryan? There's not much to.
I mean, no, it's coming out. I wish them good luck with their crowdfunding campaign.
It hasn't even launched yet. Look at that. Morecambe Asylum has not even launched. So the next unnecessary thing, if you want to drink your Dungeons and Dragons, you can now. New Holland is making a D&D beer, a coconut rum barrel reserve. Rum barrel aged stout with coconut. I don't drink beer, Ryan. What do you think? Does this sound good or does this sound terrible?
Stout is so touch and go for me. I'm like, ooh, this is a really good. I'm at a point in my career where like I'm drinking 1 to maybe 3 beers, right? Like I'm having a beer with a meal. So like I'm in it for the flavor now, not for the price point or efficiency of mind alteration. So some stouts are just like it's leather boots, and I don't want it. I don't know who that's for. I'm not a big coconut guy. I like a little subtle hint of coconut. I find it just takes over and it's all I taste. Stout's got a real floor to it, so maybe it can hold on against that coconut ceiling. But yeah, apparently nobody drinks anymore. And that's maybe a good thing. I don't know. So we'll see. I have enjoyed New Holland's offerings in the past. I will say that.
Well, I would play this video, but I have a feeling this is the kind of video that would get us demonetized. Like, if you didn't hear, I played a Thundercats video, and it got that video demonetized. So I'm still mad at the Thundercats.
I was already mad at the Thundercats. It's a long rivalry dating back to the late 80s.
All right, moving on into the just kind of for fun, only tangentially related. This last thing, a Lord of the Rings Lego diorama with 150 million pieces. There's a video of it. This might get us demonetized, but I'm going to play it anyway because holy crap, look at oh shit. That was loud. I don't know if you guys could hear that.
Worth it. No, you're not sharing the sound.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But yeah, look at that. Just look at it.
So is that what am I even is this the battle? No, what's all this? It's not Minas Tirith. Where am I looking at? Lord of the Rings.
I don't know. I was moving a little too fast to see. Looks like that's some Mordor right there.
So it's just like a pastiche of this is not the map of Middle Earth I grew up with. I'm upset.
That looks like Mordor right there. Yeah, I don't know. Last year I took my son to this thing called Brickfest in Denver, where there were crazy Lego contraptions everywhere. It was pretty amazing. They couldn't call it Lego. They had to call them building bricks because it wasn't officially sponsored. Lego's litigious like that.
Oh yeah, this is our downfall right here. This moment.
So to wrap up, what do you think about all that's going on, Ryan? What do you think about all the Critical Role stuff, all of the Dark Sun stuff, Return of the Living Dead? You don't really have to comment on that. That was just kind of a silly thing I wanted to talk about.
I love it. I love a good zombie flick, and like there's opportunity in the TTRPG genre to do zombies better. Actually, a couple of people in chat have done that, have contributed to that cause. Appreciate it. Again, I keep ringing the bell of like more is better. Even if you're not a Critical Role fan, the fact that they are doing a new world, expanding on D&D, I was excited for them to expand on the TTRPG space more broadly with Daggerheart. I don't think that's over right now, but bringing in a new DM, showing that forever DMs should get to play, that it's a travesty that it's been a decade and Matt hasn't played more than 6 sessions. And apparently it's been longer than that. He said he's been a forever DM for like 20 some odd years or something since he played in like a long campaign in one of those videos, I guess the Fireside Chat. I think West March's style, although very misunderstood or like a basket of ideas more than one singular thing, is a great way to approach D&D that not enough people do even know about, where you have more access to scheduling and people and like opening the gates wide to like, yeah, you can come in and do a guest spot on a Tuesday night. If you can bring 4 other people, we're going to make this work. And I'm going to be forced to not write my novel and deliver it to you. I am just building a world and you are experiencing it in a much more open-ended way. So there's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. And if any one of them falls flat or isn't what you viewer personally enjoy, it's just inspiration for you to make a better version of it. Like I like new things coming up because I have my own ideas about what it could be, and then I have the opportunity to make them myself. If the corporate overlords don't provide it for me, yeah, we can go make our own Dark Sun with hookers and blackjack.
My impression of the whole Critical Role stuff, and I think if I have time tomorrow, I'm going to make a video about this for Sunday.
Hmm.
My whole impression is that even though I'm disappointed that they're using 5e instead of Daggerheart, I'm not disappointed enough to not give it a try on October 2nd when it comes out. They've innovated enough and kept things the same enough that I'm willing to give it some leeway, a few weeks at least, enough to see at least all these people at the table. I don't know what it's going to be like to see these new chemistries and how these small groups break out. We're probably going to see all the original cast members split up with new people. It's going to be at one table. It's going to be Travis and Abria and Luis and Whitney. Everybody's going to be spread all around. So you're not going to get to see the same kinds of interactions anymore. I don't know what that's going to be like. Maybe it'll be great. Maybe it'll ruin the magic. I don't know. And with Dark Sun, wow, what a big swing. I can't wait to see how badly they mess it up. That's all I'll say.
I mean, like, fair. I will tell you, that is going to hold up better for posterity than maybe a lot of the things I said today. But I see ambition, right? And that's cool. That's exciting to me, where people are taking big swings, right? Like Critical Role is creating a 4-episode overture, right? Like maybe that's reaching too highfalutin, but like, whoa, this is a new thing it is expanding this. I always feel weird saying art form, but like media zone that we are occupying and all creating within. I like to see creators taking big swings in any space really, but especially this one where I spend so much of my time. I like people going for it. I really like people going for it. One thing that we alighted over, the soldiers, seekers, schemers breakdown. Hey, Dungeon Masters, have you ever asked your players what kind of game they want? Have you ever given them options and choices? I think he says, what kind of story high do you want to chase, at least at first? And damn, that's a great recipe for success, huh? To have an interesting, story to tell for others to watch, but like at your home game, are your players, which camp do the people at your table fit into? If you don't know, you can ask them, and they might not even know until you ask them that that's even an option that they've considered before. It was like, well, you know what? I like smashing things. And that's mostly what I want to do versus like, I think which ones are the schemers at your table. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how delineated and how unique each of those 3 groups are going to be in their play styles. Like, am I going to be tuning into the soldiers group to see battle maps? Like, as a soldier group, does that mean we're going to get a battle map every episode? Maybe. The original Dimension 20, the first several seasons were scheduled like there would be a roleplay episode, roleplay combat, and it was always exactly like that. Fantasy High, the first few seasons of everything were like that because they had to, it takes them 6 months to build the maps, so they have to know far in advance, and they would just the roleplay session would go as long as it needed to go until Brendan could get to roll initiative. I'm really curious to see how Brandon's going to do with a long form campaign where they don't tightly edit. You know, D20, they cut out rule lookups. Critical Role, they do not cut out that stuff. If they look up a rule, they leave the camera rolling. I'm curious to see what that's going to be like. See more of Brennan doing side chats and tangents. And I'm very curious. Very, very curious.
I
Where's
just
your Wonderwall?
realized I have a rule at my table that what Crawford said on Twitter doesn't count. I just had this flash of like someone being like, "Well, on Critical Role, he said this." It's like, "Oh Christ, that's coming. That's coming. I don't want it."
It's coming. Well, hey, anyway, we got to get out of here. And what a news week! What a lot of crazy stuff that happened. Big things are moving, and the Earth is always turning. And as it is, we are happy to be here on your Fridays to deliver tabletop news and a place for you to hang out and make bad jokes in the chat. Sometimes good jokes in the chat, mostly good, sometimes bad. You know who you are. Anyway, that's all for us. I'm rambling now, so it's time to go. I'm Jim. That's Ryan, and we are the Landlocked Warlocks. Brad, who? We don't know. We don't care. But anyway, we'll see you next Friday.